So I'm in my car, duh, obviously, and I'm driving down the highway because I'm about to do a hike today in Palm Springs, which I'm really excited about. But sometimes when I'm driving or whatever, I kind of get in my head and think things. So what ended up happening is, I frequently get messages from my guides that, tell me some pretty interesting things. And at this point in time, they told me something like that was completely mind-blowing and I really wasn't expecting to hear, but it was really cool information that basically kind of explains the déjà vu phenomenon. So obviously for many years, scientists have tried to figure out what causes the déjà vu phenomenon. There's multiple different theories. For a long time I felt like déjà vus were actually precognitions. So, like if you had a dream, you probably dreamt about the scenario and then it ended up happening later on. And so that was something that I kind of firmly believed in and how it worked. Other people believe, it could just be the synapses in your brain misfiring or something like that. I believe he's a quantum physicist, or is he an astrophysicist? Michio Kaku. He's a famous scientist, and he believes that the déjà vu phenomenon is actually linked to the multiverse theory, which means you got multiverses mixing in with ours, and then we have the ability to kind of cross timelines, and then from there, that's when we recall déjà vu. And it's also linked to the string theory. It gets a little elaborate, but it's actually a pretty cool theory. But I can almost assure you this is actually what déjà vu really is, according to the information that I got today. So basically my guides were telling me that I have lived this lifetime before. And due to Einstein's theory of relativity, obviously time isn't relevant. So those who believe in reincarnation, most people believe in the concept is that okay, so 50 years ago you were living a life and then you died and then you came back later on. So they believe that there's only one timeline that you have died and came back, which isn't necessarily the truth. What really happens is that you do have the ability to actually go through multiple different timelines, and not only in this universal plane, but in other universal planes. So that's where the multiverse theory comes in too, is that you've actually served lifetimes in other universes, different timelines. So you've even spent past lives in future timelines. So, you're here living in the 21st century when you could have lived in the 25th century many years ago, which, I know that seems really confusing. You've also spent other lifetimes in other dimensions and planets as well, which is really interesting. But yeah, so going back to what I was getting at. So you've actually, most of you have lived this lifetime before, which is interesting. So this is where the déjà vu factor comes in. So the reason why you get déjà vu is because these are actually memories coming from this past life that you had lived in this lifetime. I hope that makes sense. But what happens is that we kind of relive a lifetime, usually because we didn't get something right. So it's like we're kind of having to learn from the mistakes that we've made and do it again. It's almost kind of like being in a video game, like Super Mario, for example. And, he's walking along and then he falls into a pit and then he dies. But then he gets regenerated and then he starts where he's died. Yeah. So that's basically what our lives are about. We tend to relive similar lifetimes, and whether it's past, present, or future. But yeah, a lot of us have lived this present lifetime in the year 2017. Déjà vus are simply having a recollection of memories from the lifetime we spent previously, which is really interesting. But the reason why you don't, you know, have a deja vu like all day, every day is because obviously you're doing something different. So you're living an alternate timeline, but in the same year. I hope that makes sense. I got like really scientific on you and it's totally trippy. But yeah, if you have any questions, like feel free to ask and I'd be happy to elaborate. But I could officially tell you that my mind has been blown. It was really, it was just really cool. I wasn't expecting to get that information today while I was taking a drive. So anyway, thank you for tuning in and I will get to you next time. Bye.